Hi, I'm Jacob Adams, and today I'll be discussing and reviewing A Star is Born, the last film with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. I am quite a fan of Lady Gaga's work, and I've seen her a few times live, 5 times or so, and so I did go into the film a little biased. I've been waiting for 3 months. In any case, beyond this point, there will be some spoilers, you could say, because I'll be discussing some of the main topics of the movie, why I liked it, and even better yet, some of the discussions of the heavy stuff. So please don't watch beyond this point if you don't want any spoilers. Well, what I loved about the movie is that it starts off very casual, and right into it we see that Bradley Cooper's character likes to drink. He says, pull over, make her next right. I'm going to get a drink here at the next bar. At that bar is where he sees Lady Gaga and her character, and she's singing a song. She's singing a song in French. It's a very cool scene. I do recommend you see this movie in theaters to get that full effect of, it's all dark and it really sets a setting here. But, this is Lady Gaga. She's performed thousands of times, and, she really does hold the screen well. And I think that's what makes the movie so powerful, is that she's not just an actress, she's an artist in real life, so she's playing herself on some level. And that's really what I think really captures us as the audience. In any case, I'll go over through some of the main arcing themes of the movie. So they start off very casually with some chemistry, and they end up in this little, having a good night together, but nothing sexual happens, anything right away. And she has a little bit of a wall to Bradley Cooper, because the next day he wants her to go to a show, to his concert, because the previous night she had shown him how she knows how to sing, she knows how to write songs, but she's shy. And he's taken aback by her quiet talent. And so he invites her to go to one of his shows and sing there. And well, she has a wall up, and she calls him a drunk. She tells her dad, he's a drunk. You know all about drunks, because I think her dad may have a drinking issue too. That wasn't as obvious, but I think it's one of the things that is implied there. She goes, he's a drunk. You know all about drunks, or something like this. And in any case, eventually, the driver does get her to go to the show. And there at the show, he puts the song that she just came up with on the spot, Hey Boy, Aren't You Tired of Being So Hardcore, that one. And she starts singing that song to thousands of people. And, she loves it, people love it, etc. And eventually, with enough of these shows, they start kindling the romance. And of these shows, A Star is Born, because one of the main producers for Interscope Records or so approaches Lady Gaga after a show, and says, look, we could do something for you, we could do more for you. And that's where you could say a split of sorts starts occurring, a little bit of a wedge between Bradley Cooper's character and Lady Gaga. Now, there is love very present. You can see that there's love here, and that doesn't make them stop loving each other. But that's where there's a dissonance between the two stars. His career sort of starts dwindling. The drinking sort of starts coming to the surface as more of an issue. And for example, there's a part where they ask him to, just play guitar, not sing. And that same night, Lady Gaga's character is given a Grammy, or being nominated for a Grammy, and he embarrasses her by peeing on his pants. Now, I have fast forwarded here a lot. There's very lovely moments from the point where they meet to the Grammy situation, but we start seeing that Bradley Cooper's character is losing his cool, basically, his composure, everything about him sort of starting to dwindle. His hearing, he's drinking more, he's dealing with, lack of connection with his girl, and it just keeps getting worse. And, well, eventually he ends up in rehab after embarrassing her by peeing in his pants in front of everybody. And he ends up in rehab, and eventually, with enough time, with 2 months or so, they end up getting back together. But there's a point, and this is where it gets heavy, is where, again, even if you've watched up to this point, if you want to get out of here, this is a pretty big spoiler here. The producer that signed Lady Gaga's character comes to him and says, look, she's never going to tell you, but you almost ruined her career, and she's not going to make it with you. And it just eats him up. He's on an upswing upward, but he basically tells him, look, let's face it, you're drunk, you're never going to be sober fully. And I guess he believes him, and it crushes him. And you know, when she goes to perform that night, he ends up taking his own life by hanging himself. And it gets pretty heavy right about there. I mean, everything, you know, all the hope we had for these two characters sort of just turns south, and we as the audience are left to process this very big truth here. And that's where, like, you know, us as the audience is really left to like process some really deep shit. Especially, I think those of us that have a sense of understanding of counseling, of addiction, of working on our own issues, we see that this man really had struggled with his demons all his life. And, you know, his dad was a drunk, and we start seeing like the people in our lives that may struggle with drinking or drug use, and we start really asking ourselves, like, damn, like, what am I doing wrong? Where am I being blindsided? Because that's what happened here, is this character's been blindsided by his own addictions, by the voices in his head, by his insecurities, and it gets really heavy. I mean, he ends his own life, and his girlfriend, his wife, really, they end up getting married, is on top of the world. And it's like, wow, you know, like, what can I make of this? And before he dies, he had sang her a song, that he wrote a song for her, and this is where it really starts getting gut-wrenching. I mean, like, he writes her a song, and before he dies, he sings to her how he would sing it. And, you know, they're holding like in remembrance of concert for him, and he's passed away already, and she sings that song, and it just floors most of the audience, I think, emotionally, to process all that love, and that it gets really heavy. And so that's one of the main reasons I want to make this video. Yes, I am a Lady Gaga fan. I saw her live in December, and she said, one of the things she said I took away from, and I made a video about this, and she said, what you create with your pain belongs to you. And seeing that process woke up a lot of pain in me, and a lot of the stuff I'm working through that I've made very real and very raw recently in my own life. And, you know, I'm honored to be able to talk about this film. This isn't even a critique. This isn't a criticism on a film. It's actually just like a discussion on something that I thought was so powerful and beautiful. And the way they brought up the problems of addiction, the problems of drug use, and what it does to relationships and couples, and how we can be blindsided by it when we really took a moment to process that and see it on the screen and feel that pain. You know, it's an honor to bring awareness to this problem and discuss it on this film. You know, like, this is unlike a lot of my other videos where there's a topic and it's pretty much an established topic, and I'm going to stay on that topic. This is a review of sorts, but it's also a discussion on the main core that I saw as the main topic of the film, which is addiction can blindside us and destroy the beauty in our life, the love in our life. And that's why I'm making this film, primarily. We can be addicted to many things. We can be addicted to relationships that are toxic for us. One of my mentors, Neil Strauss, said, a toxic relationship is when two fucked up people get more fucked up together. A healthy relationship is when two fucked up people get healthy together. And these last few years of being single, I've really done a lot of inner work to have a healthy relationship in the next relationship I'm in, because I have had a toxic relationship before, and I've never really had like a fully, thoroughly healthy relationship where it was just nothing but the upswing, or nothing but an overall arcing upswing. I think there's always been some, some relationships that I've been in have been good, and some relationships that I've been in have been okay and good for a long while, but then eventually they fell apart, mainly sometimes because of me, mainly sometimes because of her. That's not why I'm not trying to make this video he said, she said type blame thing. What I'm making this video for is to say, like, usually there's an addiction of sorts in that relationship. It could be as blatant as alcohol, which is something blatant. It could be as something as subtle as control issues or jealousy or sexual addiction or things that have gotten out of control in that relationship that start spinning it into a downward spiral. And I'm not special in this. I know countless people, I mean, a majority of people struggle with some level of addiction. And usually, if we don't understand our addictive nature and connect it with something positive, connect it to something more positive, for me, it's making these videos, right? This is one of my healthy outlets and projects to make these videos and reach out to the world, right? This is a positive way to express and connect. But if we're left to leave our addictive natures to find something like alcohol, drug use, strip clubs, anything that is on the surface looks pretty sketchy, it usually will lead us down very sketchy roads. It's very difficult to separate. It's very difficult to separate some level of addiction as good. In other words, I think Russell Brand said it. He goes, no matter how small your addiction is, it will eventually be your demise. And I think what he's getting at there is, it's not to say that you're going to reach some level of perfection someday and you're some kind of saint. I think what he's saying is that, what I gather from that is that to assume that your addiction is, you've got this, that your addiction is so special and you're so strong that it separates you from something like Bradley Cooper's demise or something. And like, to have that level of arrogance is the problem on some level. Like, there has to have a level of confidence and self-assuredness and self-esteem, sure. There also has to be a level of humility to understand that these addictions can creep up in many forms and shapes and be the demise of our inner self and relationships. So again, the movie was powerful. I want to take a moment to discuss it and the problems with addiction, and sort of the main thing. It ended really powerfully, and it was, I shed like 2 or 3 tears, like water, like it dug deep. It struck a chord in me. And I think that most people that have a sense of understanding as to what this film is getting at are going to have a sense of, it's going to strike some level of chord in them. This is Jacob Adams. I'd love to hear your point of view on the film. I'd love to hear what you thought of it. And yeah, that'd be it. Hope this discussion helped you, whether you want to talk about addictive behaviors, or something that is something that you're working through. I'd love to hear that too. Anything you want to say or hear. Talk to you next time. Bye.